Wait a second. My mom says something.
Okay, I think we are ready. Okay. Milan, you can let me just introduce. Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us this morning on this lovely Friday morning to talk about Down syndrome and learn all about it. I would like to welcome our two speakers this morning, Megan LaRue and Elaine Passmore. I think we're going to have Megan talk first. So Megan is from Paul in the Western Cape, and she is a national self-advocate and inspiring athlete known for her courage, determination, and a joyful spirit. She made history as the first rhythmic gymnast in South Africa to win a gold medal at the Down Syndrome World Championships. Megan is also a trailblazer in sport. She became the first person with an intellectual disability in South Africa to complete and pass the Special Olympics rhythmic gymnastics coaching examination, demonstrating her dedication not only as an athlete but also as a leader and mentor in the sport. Outside the gym, Megan enjoys horse riding, swimming, and dancing. She has also recently started modeling and continues to inspire others with her confidence and vibrant personality. Megan works part time at a nursery school where her kindness and enthusiasm makes her a wonderful role model for young children. Through her achievements and positive outlook on life, Megan is a shining example of passion, resilience, and living life to the fullest. I welcome Megan and thank you so much for joining us this morning. And over to you. Thank you so much, Elaine, for presenting.
You're welcome. Megan, I'm going to be sharing now, okay?
No.
I'll tell you when to start. I'm just going to be putting it into presenter mode.
I think I've been practice. I think I can do this.
Okay, you've got this. Over to you, Megan.
Thank you. What is Down syndrome? I am Megan LaRue from the Western Cape, South Africa. I'm 19 years old and a national self-advocate, rhythmic gymnast and Special Olympics gymnastics coach. Breaking barriers. I completed a Special Olympics coaching course together with my coach and other gymnastics coaches. I was the first person with Down syndrome to complete this course. From athlete coach. Today I help coach children with Down syndrome. I enjoy encouraging them and helping them learn new skills. My hobbies: gymnastics, dancing,
Come on. It's going to switch over now.
right. Listening to music, making music, singing, playing board games. I am a world champion in rhythmic gymnastics. My dreams for the future. I have dreams just like everyone else. To have a boyfriend and a happy life, get my driver's license and own a car, work in a hospital caring for people, get married one day, go out with friends to the movies and other places. As you can see, I have a few talents, many interests, and I have Down syndrome. Wait, what? What's that you ask? Well, that's why I am here. Today I'm going to tell you all about Down syndrome. So, what is Down syndrome? Down syndrome is when people are born with an extra chromosome, extra extra 21st chromosome. Persons with Down syndrome have three copies of the 21st chromosome. Chromosomes are what tell us our hair color, eye color, if we will be tall or short, if you are a boy or a girl. Typical people all have 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs. A person with Down syndrome, that's me, is born with 47 chromosomes. That extra chromosome is like having an extra chapter in the body's recipe book. This extra copy changes the way the body and brain grow. Um, wait, what? Some
Megan, do you want help?
this recording is above the word.
Okay. um, is there a cross to cross it to click on?
This recording thing from Malayan is over the word.
Okay. So it says some things
Some
might
things.
might.
Well, donkey. Some things might take us a little longer to learn, but learn we do. We go to school, work, and fun just like everyone else. Tomorrow we will celebrate World Dance and Drum Day, 21st at 3. It's because we have three copies of the 21st chromosome. There are many famous persons with Down syndrome. Pablo, Pablo Pineda, Spanish actor and an author. He also received an award at an international film festival. Handling Stewart, an Australian model, has appeared on the New York Fashion Week, also worked Paris Fashion Week, London Fashion Week, Runway Dubai, and many other fashion weeks. Jamie Brewer, an American actress and model. She is best known for her roles in American Horror Story. She has also won an award for an actress in a play. Rose Burke, an American actor, was the first actor with Down syndrome on the TV show Life Goes On. Madison Devlin, Canadian actress, the host of a talk show Who Do You Think I Am? Starred in the film Champions. Sujit Desai, American musician. He has mastered 7 instruments. He has also been in 2 documentaries and has won a few awards. Cherie Brennard, a South African assistant teacher, only person in South Africa with a diploma, public speaker, and author.
Okay, so thank you, Megan. So, through many people believe or have different views of what Down syndrome is, and there's a lot of stereotypes out there. So, one myth that people believe is that persons with Down syndrome suffer from it. So, Megan, do you suffer from Down syndrome?
No.
All right. So the fact is, persons with Down syndrome suffer from Down syndrome. It's not an illness. We use person-first language, so no one should be defined by the diagnosis. They're not a Down syndrome kid, a Downsy, or a person. They're just a person who happens to have Down syndrome. They have their own unique talents and abilities. What can you call them? Call them a person with Down syndrome. Or better yet, call them by their name.
I am Megan first.
Another myth is that people believe that persons with Down syndrome stop learning or they plateau. So the reality is that persons with Down syndrome do not learning. Neither do they plateau. As you can see, Megan is wanting to learn. Like us, they will continue to learn and grow as long as we continue to teach them and provide them with learning opportunities.
Well, I think we proved them wrong. We are just as capable as everyone else. We need others to see our potential. With the right support and encouragement, we can follow our dreams, share our talents, and live a full independent lives. Just like anyone else, we want the chance to work, learn, love, and be seen for who you really are. Having done having Down syndrome is just one part of a person, just like having green eyes or having freckles. What matters most are being kind, patient, and seeing the person as an individual. Now remember, tomorrow is World Down Syndrome Day. Don't forget to rock your socks. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, sorry, carry on, Melanie.
Thank you so much, Megan. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure now to hand over to our next speaker, Elaine Passmore, who is the National Executive Director of Down Syndrome South Africa. She is the proud mother of three remarkable children, Kayla, Jordan, Olivia, and Joshua. Joshua also has Down syndrome and has developed a strong passion for martial arts and continues to excel in the sport. Elaine has been with Down Syndrome South Africa for the past 2 years, and prior to this, she served as the manager of the Down Syndrome Association of Pretoria, where her commitment to advocacy and support for individuals with Down syndrome and their families continued to grow. Her passion for advancing the rights and opportunities for persons with Down syndrome is clearly reflected in her work. Elaine has particularly dedicated to promoting inclusive education and inclusive employment practices, working to ensure that individuals with Down syndrome can fully participate in society and reach their full potential. The family is currently living in the United States, but is looking forward to returning to sunny South Africa later this year, and we would be so happy. Thank you so much, Elaine. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Melanie. And I just want to say, Megan, great job.
Well
Well done.
done.
Seems my computer is a little bit slow, but what's happening? Give me a second. Okay, let's see if it will move now. All right. Okay, sorry about that. It just seems like it's glitching on my side. So, Down Syndrome South Africa as an organ, I'm just going to go through a little bit about Down syndrome. I know Megan touched on it a little bit on, I'm going to go through a little bit about Down Syndrome South Africa, and Megan touched on a little bit about Down syndrome, and I'm going to be just expanding on what she said. So Down syndrome Down syndrome South Africa was for 1986, when various parent support groups across South Africa realized that there was a need for an umbrella body. And so since then, we've been going from strength to strength. We celebrate 2 key awareness days. So the 21st of March is World Down Syndrome Day, and that is tomorrow. And the 20th of October is National Down Syndrome Day. So we have 12 umbrella 12 organizations under us across South Africa. There are associations, support groups, and outreach groups. So we have 2 in Cape Town, 1 in Free State, 1 in Pretoria, 1 in Amatoli, East London, 1 in PE, Kimberley, Witbank, Polokwane, KZN, and then we've got outreaches in Limpopo and Potchefstroom. So the key focus areas that DSSA focuses on is to establish outreach and support groups in areas where needed, because across South Africa, we have quite a number of families that need support, and we want to ensure that we have branches or outreach groups wherever parents need support. We also do capacity building of all our affiliate members. We empower persons with Down syndrome and their families through workshops, awareness events, and sharing updated information. We also advocate on human rights issues, collaborate with different government departments, and we work hard to encourage change in policies, programs, and to ensure implementation of all legal instruments, including the United Nations of the Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So we also develop programs and resources that are beneficial to persons with Down syndrome and their families. We've got a WhatsApp community where people can join, and we share resources daily, and that is open to anyone to join because it's just about sharing information and knowledge. So the mission of DSSA, we are committed to finding ways to improve the quality of life of all persons with Down syndrome and intellectual disabilities, promoting that they have the right to live with independence, dignity, and security as valued adults and full citizens in society. So tomorrow, like I said, is World Down Syndrome Day, and it was officially recognized in 2012 by the United Nations. So every year, the global community comes together to celebrate persons with Down syndrome, raise awareness, and speak on challenges and issues that affect persons with Down syndrome and their families. The reason we have World Down Syndrome Day is to really amplify the voices of persons with Down syndrome and ensure that their voices are heard. The theme for this year is Together Against Loneliness, and it is such a vital theme because persons with Down syndrome and intellectual disabilities are more inclined to be lonely due to how our society is set up. So persons with Down syndrome are excluded from many things, and that the impact of that is loneliness, isolation, can lead anxiety, and this is what we want to encourage people to be aware of and open their spaces and be more inclusive. All right, so as Megan said, typical people have 46 chromosomes, 23 from each parent, 23 pairs. Persons with Down syndrome have an extra chromosome, and as she told you, it's the chromosomes are what inform our body about, like, regarding our hair color, our eye color, if we're going to be tall or short, and the additional chromosome then it alters the course of developmental, both physically and intellectually, and causes certain characteristics of for persons with Down syndrome. Okay, so gone through the chromosomes. It's an extra 21st chromosome. So the typical features of a person with Down syndrome is that they've got eyes that slant upwards, folds on the inside of their eyes, a smaller nose, mouth, and ears. A lot of our children have a simian palmist crease or simian crease, either on one or both hands, but it's important to know that not all persons with Down syndrome will display these characteristics or these features. Broader hands, shorter fingers, inclining pinky finger, a gap between the big and second toe. They also have lower muscle tone, which is the unusual looseness of the joints. So there are 3 types of Down syndrome: trisomy 21, mosaic Down syndrome, and translocation Down syndrome. Translocation. Okay, so it's usually caused by an error in cell division called non-disjunction. And this results in an embryo with 3 copies of the 21st chromosome instead of the 2. So prior to or at conception, pair of the 21st chromosome in either the sperm or the egg fails to separate, and that is how we get Down syndrome. So it's important to know that there's nothing that a parent did or didn't do to cause Down syndrome. It is the luck of the draw, and it is like winning the lotto. So trisomy 21 is the most common form of Down syndrome, and 95% of persons who have Down syndrome have trisomy 21. Okay, so here's just the typical division, and here is trisomy 21. So mosaic Down syndrome, it's when there's a mixture of two types of cells. Some will have 46 chromosomes and some will have 47. So it's the extra chromosome is not present in every cell in the body. And this is for about 2% of our population. Okay, so this is mosaic cell division. All right, then Robertsonian translocation. This is the only one that could be hereditary, but it is not necessarily hereditary. So in translocation, it's about 3 to 4% of the cases, and the total number of chromosomes in the cells remain 46. However, there's an extra cell that attaches itself to a one of the other cells, and it's usually chromosome 14. So they still have the typical number of chromosomes, but they've got an extra chromosome attached to chromosome 14. So the presence of this extra or partial chromosome causes the characteristics of Down syndrome. All right, so approximately one baby with Down syndrome is born for every 6 babies born in South Africa. We struggle to get stats, I think, like a lot of NPOs that work with persons with disabilities. So these are projections from previous stats that were given, but we are still trying to gather data. So Down syndrome usually occurs equally amongst, Down syndrome does occur equally amongst all race groups, religions, socioeconomic groups, through older women. Although older women have an increased chance of having a child with Down syndrome, a 35-year-old woman has about a 1 in 350,000 of receiving a child with Down syndrome, conceiving a child with Down syndrome, and this chance increases then by age. But again, it's just a chance. So 1 in 100 is a 1% chance. So just to give you a little bit of insight about me, this is my son, Joshua. As Milani said, he is quite interested in martial arts. So he's 17, sorry, he's almost 18 years old. And he was diagnosed at 8 weeks old. And for us, we were, there wasn't even a suspicion. We just took him for his shots, and they picked up his eyes, and they said, well, you know, he may have Down syndrome, and we were completely blindsided because we had no clue. But he was the sweetest little baby, and he's just such an awesome young man. So he was diagnosed at 8 weeks old. We had limited funds at the time, so we used what we were shown in therapy to help work with him at home, and we decided to choose inclusion from the start. And now he is a world champion in Taekwondo. He's got 5 titles under him. He is graduating school this year. He has dreams and ambitions like everyone else. He wants to go to university, something that he feels very strongly about. And he really wants to find opportunities when we go back to South Africa to further his increase his skills. He advocates for what he wants. And he's done many awareness speeches, and he's actually going to be speaking at the UN on Monday at the World Down Syndrome Day conference organized by Down Syndrome International. So what can parents do to support their child? So and this is just quickly, if there's any parents out there, or if you want to know how to support parents or encourage parents, you know, see your child as a child first, and see the individual needs. Have high expectation, opportunity, inclusion studies show that it benefits all. So it's very important to try inclusion and focus on inclusive policy, inclusive practices, because our children really thrive in inclusive environments. Encourage their input, encourage supported decision making, speak to them about things, let them know they have rights and responsibilities. Join webinars, get information, see what else you can do to support your child. Join support groups. We're a family, walk this journey together, and then always remember to see the potential. So October is also Down Syndrome Awareness Month, which is what I said earlier. Well, in October, we have Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and March is World Down Syndrome Day. So we have the awareness days in the months because we want to raise awareness about Down syndrome, public awareness. We want to advocate for inclusion. We want to make sure that we connect families and with their communities. It's very important that parents feel that they have a community to belong to, so that they're not walking this journey alone. And then we celebrate the achievements of persons with Down syndrome, because it's very important for people out there to see just what our children and adults actually can do. So, did you know person with Down syndrome thrive in inclusive environments? Research has shown over and over and over again that persons with Down syndrome who are included in mainstream schools and communities, they tend to develop stronger academic and social skills. Inclusive education, it really fosters better outcomes and greater independence. And, this is supported by the UNCRPD. Article 24, which focuses very much on inclusion, and the right to inclusion. Persons with disabilities have the right to education without discrimination and on the basis of equal opportunity. And just on this, yesterday, for the last 3 days, we've had a 3-day symposium for World Down Syndrome Day, and we've had wonderful speakers throughout. And yesterday, the self-advocates sat and spoke. And at the end, we put together key messages from the self-advocates that we want to put out to South Africa and to the government to say, look, this is what persons with Down syndrome are demanding now for the persons, the children with Down syndrome that come, after them, and also for themselves. And one big thing was that everyone has the right to be educated. That was said over and over and over by our self-advocates. Persons with Down syndrome want to work. Many adults with Down syndrome are eager to contribute to the workforce. Given the right support and opportunities, they excel with various jobs across sectors, demonstrating reliability, creativity, and dedication. So we have a few young adults with Down syndrome who have been employed, and like it says here, that they are, or like I said, that they are very loyal workers. They're very reliable. And the majority of them have been in their employment for between 10 and 19 years. So they are very loyal. You can always count on them. They're passionate about their work. They just need the opportunities. Article 27 of the CRPD ensures the right of persons with disabilities to work on an equal basis with others. And that's very important. And one of the challenges is that we need people to open their doors for persons with intellectual disabilities, because the opportunities for persons with disabilities out there are very limited. And even those ones that are out there, they are also exclusive because they do not have opportunities for persons with intellectual disabilities. And this is what we really want, where we really need doors to open. Okay, I don't know if this is going to play, but there's a wonderful, and I can share it with Milani to share with everyone. There's a wonderful campaign, The Hiring Change. So this is a song that just shows the impact of having a person with Down syndrome working. And when people see then what they can do, then they want to also open their doors. Persons with Down syndrome do form meaningful relationships. They want to have, like you heard from Megan earlier, they want to have the opportunity to meet that special someone. They want to have relationships. They want to get married, and they have the right to get married. They want to have the same opportunities as everyone else. So with appropriate educational support, persons with Down syndrome can continue to develop new skills, knowledge throughout their lives. Many pursue further educational and vocational training to reach their goals. Now, unfortunately, in South Africa, we don't have these opportunities, and this is one of the things that that was also brought up in our symposium by the self-advocates, that they also want the opportunity to be able to receive a diploma, but they don't have the opportunity, which is very sad because they all have so much potential and they really can do so well. Persons with Down syndrome can live independently with the right support systems in place. Many individuals with Down syndrome live semi-independently, managing their own homes, making decisions, and actively participating in the communities. And Article 19 of the CRPD says persons with disabilities have the right to live independently and be included in the community. There's not only certain persons with disabilities, it's the whole disability community, and that includes persons with Down syndrome and intellectual disabilities. Self-advocacy is growing amongst individuals with Down syndrome as they take an active role in speaking up for their rights, choices, and opportunities. So it is very important that we give persons with Down syndrome the floor to be able to share their voices. We as organizations, we advocate all the time on their behalf, but we are trying to empower our self-advocates to sit with us at the table and to be able to have a voice and give their input, because they are the ones that whose voices are important. So we have some more myths. So the myth number one is that persons with Down syndrome have a short life expectancy. So many in the 1980s, persons with Down syndrome had a very short life expectancy. But thanks to medical advances, people with Down syndrome can now live well into their 60s. And we actually, unfortunately, we lost one of our community members last week who was 70. I think he was 77, but he was in his 70s, and he just passed away last week. So we are very sad that we've lost him, but it just goes to show how medical advances have supported the life expectancy and expanded the life expectancy of persons with Down syndrome. So only older mothers, the myth, only older mothers have children with Down syndrome. So while the chance increases with age, most children with Down syndrome are born to women under 35 because younger women have more babies. So I was 27 when I had my son. So it really is the luck of the draw, and like winning the lotto. Now, the most persons with Down syndrome are always happy and loving. I can speak from experience that that's not the case, because I've seen my son mope. I've seen him argue with me. I've had him debate with me, get angry with me. So just like any other kid, right? He's a teenager. So persons with Down syndrome are not always happy. They experience the same range of emotions, just like all of us. And we want people to realize that, they have feelings too. They have the range of emotions, and you need to see them as a person first, right? Persons with Down syndrome cannot learn or achieve independence with the right support. Say this throughout this presentation: the right support, education, and opportunities. Persons with Down syndrome can learn, work, live independently or semi-independently, and contribute meaningfully to society. Down syndrome is a rare condition, so that is not true. Down syndrome is the most common chromosomal condition occurring in 1 in every 700 births worldwide. So another myth, persons with Down syndrome all look the same. So that is also not true. They look more like their family members than each other. So while they may share certain physical traits or physical features, right, like the eyes, be a little bit shorter, lower set ears, they still look more like their family members and look like themselves and each other. Okay. Persons with Down syndrome cannot work. So this is another myth. So the fact is, and I spoke earlier about how we've got quite a few persons with Down syndrome who are employed and have been employed for a good few, many years. So many persons with Down syndrome have jobs in a wide range of industry, from hospitality, retail, arts, administration, especially with supported employment. So another myth, Down syndrome is a disease. It's a genetic condition, not a disease, and it's caused by the extra chromosome, right? It's not you can't cure it. And our children, adults are just awesome. Okay, so myth number 9, persons with Down syndrome don't develop intellectually. As you've seen, persons with Down syndrome can learn every single day as long as we give them the opportunities. It is so important. Opportunities, inclusion, empowerment, so important for our children. Inclusion is not possible in schools or workplaces. This is another myth, and this is not the case. Inclusion supported in employment models worldwide show that inclusion is not only possible, but it's beneficial for everyone. If we include people in our workspaces, in our schools, we create, and it benefits not just the person with Down syndrome or the person with the disability. It benefits the whole of society. Persons, the typical people who are learning alongside their peers with disabilities, they develop more empathy and understanding. You know, the children that are in school with our children at the moment in mainstream schools, they're the future teachers, the future parents, the future doctors, the future employers. When they are amongst and exposed to diversity, typical children will grow up and will eventually then have a more inclusive society, right? And we wouldn't keep having to do these awareness talks and, you know, trying to change stereotypes, because they would know just that persons with Down syndrome and persons with disabilities are just amazing, and they can do just what anyone else can do. They may take a little bit longer. Just like us, we have talents and we have areas that we are still learning. It's the same thing with persons with disabilities, and if they are included, people would know that. All right, I know it was a little bit quicker than probably, but thank you so much for this opportunity to share about Down Syndrome South Africa and about Down syndrome, and for this platform to raise awareness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elaine and Megan. This was really informative. Oh, we've got a little bit of an echo there. Can you hear me right? Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much. I would like to open the floor for questions. I want to start with a question, Elaine. In terms of the medical, the common medical challenges that persons with Down syndrome face, are there anything that new parents may, look out for, or how would they handle the most common problems, medically speaking?
Okay, so 60% of our children are born with heart conditions. there's a percentage of those babies that then need heart surgery. What happens generally when the baby is diagnosed, the doctor will then refer them to an cardiologist, a doctor to check their hips because they could have hip dysplasia, an ophthalmologist, they have to have the eyes checked. They obviously do the hearing screening. So they could, throughout, as they get older, because they struggle very much with, in the beginning, with respiratory infections. And their hearing can fluctuate, right, from day to day, because if they have an infection, they can get fluid in the ears. So cardiologist in the beginning, cardiologist, doctor for the hips, I can't remember what they're called. They do the eye ophthalmologist, and then we do early intervention therapies, right? So early intervention is speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, or physio. And we say to parents, specifically, they'll say, well, my baby is a baby, why do they need speech therapy? But it does more than just, it's not just about them talking, it's about working on the low muscle tone in the mouths for feeding. Our children, because they have low muscle tone, they can have a challenge to breastfeed. So a speech therapist can assist and help to strengthen, or help the parent to help the baby to strengthen their sucking technique. And then later on, some challenges every now and then with ears, and they could also have challenges with eyesight, but just visual impairment, but not they won't be blind, but they could need glasses.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? We've got a hand. Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, and
Yeah, thank you. Good
Mhm.
morning, Elaine. My name is Anane, and I'd like to find out if is it possible that the doctors can be able to detect that the child is going to be born with a Down syndrome while they are still pregnant with them, or is it the opposite or what? I don't understand.
No. Okay. Yes. So in the when the mom is when any lady is pregnant, right? There's different tests that are taken that are done throughout the pregnancy, and one of those is to screen for chromosomal challenges, right? So it would be they screen for, I think, chromosome 18, 13, and 20, 21, and then any other challenges. And they also do a scan to check the nuchal fold at the back of their neck. So if it picks up during pregnancy that it's a little bit thicker, then they would suggest they go on to for further tests. There's the CVS or CSB, sampling or something like that. I don't have it in front of me, but that is a test that can be done before I think about between 11 and 16 weeks, and then thereafter the amnio, and those are definitive tests. And then there's the NIPT, which is a non-invasive prenatal screening or prenatal testing, but that is then done. It's through the blood, so it's just a blood test, but that is very, very expensive in South Africa as well, but that is also a definitive test.
okay.
Yeah.
I've got another question, and it may be a controversial one. You talked about people with Down syndrome getting married and wanting to have children. What is I know there's been a lot of conversation around involuntary sterilization. Can you maybe just speak a little bit about that?
So I think many years ago, before the laws were changed, it did happen because it was suggested by doctors that our
Yeah.
children get sterilized, right? But when as soon as the law changed, it wasn't suggested, and now it must be the person's decision to whether or not they want to be sterilized, and it must be an informed decision.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think many people are aware of the changes in law. So I also think, information, we need to get more information out around that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we must remember that we're moving towards supported decision making in South Africa. So what we want is we want to work with our children and our adults to understand and guide them in their decisions, but they must make decisions. We can't take those rights away from them.
Yes, yes. Welcome, Maury. Thank you for joining us. Please go ahead.
Righto, thank you. I just wanted to, on this line, say, in SADA, we're so grateful for this platform this morning from Down Syndrome South Africa, but we also feel that SADA could support our cause much stronger, in the following areas. I think we need a sort of a consolidated voice from the whole combined disability sector to also make sure when we, have a drive for employment, that SADA always says that includes intellectual disability, because as Elaine explained so well, that sometimes the kind of adverts that go out for posts, when it's designated for disability, it excludes people with disability, with intellectual disabilities, and I think that is really critical, that we have a very strong consolidated voice about that. In second place is that we are vigilant and really speak out in public about we call it the politics of Down syndrome, that the doctors tend to pressurize parents, the way they talk about your expectations for a child with disability when you get the tests results for prenatal assessments, and you find it's Down syndrome. There's a kind of a general approach to pressurize parents or talk them, give them the negative picture of how difficult a life should be. We really should be really speak out on that, on terminating lives of people with disabilities. Thirdly, I do think that there are still schools, it was really a very archaic practice of some special schools to demand a hysterectomy before they admit children with with Down syndrome for menstrual management purposes. And honestly, if anyone ever encounters such a practice, SADA, it should be taken up by SADA and really, combat it. And then fourth, I think that when we talk about inclusive education, some people tend to think it's only for people without intellectual disability, and I think SADA can just make a point of being very, very clear that inclusion is for everyone, and that even SADA doesn't have a kind of a medical approach, or actually supports a charity approach towards intellectual disability. So I think we've come a long way from the 90s when Down syndrome wasn't even allowed to be a member of SADA, and we now have Elaine in the management. So I do think, but we actually have to express it in practice as well. I don't know if you agree with me, if my perception is wrong, but I think it's something.
No, absolutely, absolutely agree with you. Mari, I wish we had a legal help desk. That is something that we are really, really, but it's expensive. Legal stuff is very expensive. And in this week, we actually got a complaint about a child with cerebral palsy and severe intellectual disability. And then there was a court case around because it was an injury at birth, and there was a court case, and the court actually declined compensation for the parents based on the fact that the child is not aware, their words, aware of its pain and suffering. I mean, can you imagine how awful that is. I mean, of course, the child feels pain and discomfort, but what about the cost of looking after that child, providing for the child throughout his life? Things like that. And this is just new on my desk this week,
Yeah.
but things like that happens today still. And we would think that our courts are educated around disability and especially intellectual disabilities, and they are not.
Yeah.
So this is a huge gap that we need to address.
Thank you, Mel. Just before Elaine comes in, I just wanted to make a follow-up. There's something I forgot.
Yes. Sure.
It's something that's very heavy on my heart, and that is that you know that old age homes don't want to take people with intellectual disability. You know, so there's this complaint that many families who want to live in any senior facility and want to take their child with them, in some cases they are refused, you know, and then I can never understand why they should discriminate, because it's very often senior facilities and care facilities for senior citizens which house people with Alzheimer, but they don't want to take intellectual disability. And I wonder how that can be possible. You know, I know they are private institutions, but it's something that probably that SADA could actually advocate against or try to improve. Because honestly, you know, housing facilities for people with intellectual disability in old age is an extreme problem and a huge concern for parents, you know.
Yes, I
Yes.
know, I know.
Mm.
They are hugely lacking, and sorry to say, but there's no support from government, and we need to do something about it. I just don't know where to start, really. But I think, this is something that SADA must discuss internally and with experts in the field and housing department of what is called human settlements, that they can actually support, living arrangements and also more independent living for persons with intellectual disabilities in general. Yeah. I saw Anna's hand is up. I don't know, Anna, if that was an old hand. If you want to continue. I think that was an old hand. Any other questions, please? It's now the time. Corin, please go ahead.
Morning, everyone. Thank you, Megan and Elaine, for your talks. I really enjoyed it. I have a question for Megan. Just interested in your hobbies and especially teaching gymnastics. And I wondered what's your most favorite part about teaching gymnastics?
Thank you.
Megan,
Yes.
so what is your favorite part about teaching gymnastics?
Teaching. Wait,
Mm.
is my camera on? Teaching gymnastics is kind of just my hobby, not really a sport.
Mm.
But what is
But
your favorite thing?
my favorite thing to do is the rope. I love the rope routine, and love the dance move my coach putting in. I really enjoy it. And the country music, Texas Hold'em from Beyonce. I
Okay.
love Beyonce so much. I love country.
Great. Thank you so much.
Megan, I saw you doing some splits in some of the photos. Goodness, if I would try that, I would break my legs in 7 places. Oh gosh. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending this wonderful webinar this morning. Please do feel free if you've got any questions to pop my email there in the chat. You can grab it from there, secretariat@sada.org.za. Please drop me a line, and if you want to receive the recording, I will be happy to share that with you. And thank you so much, Elaine and Megan. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for sharing a wonderful wealth of information about Down syndrome and self-advocates and medical challenges and everything. We've learned so much. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody, and have a fantastic weekend.
Thanks, Milani.
Thank you. Thank you.